my name is Maddi and this is Leia, and today we're going to be breaking down rabbit showmanship. I recently competed at the Salinas County Fair where I won junior and senior rabbit showmanship. Today we're going to break down the process of showing your rabbit so that no matter what your experience level is, you can take that showmanship to the next level. We're going to go ahead and begin with how to hold your rabbit. You're going to begin with your right hand placed along their shoulders. You're going to put your pointer finger in between their ears and grip around their shoulders. We're not going to pick them up by just their ears. We're going to support them with our fingers around their shoulders. We're going to grip that, and then our left hand is going to come around their hip. We're going to scoop them up and put them into our arm. You can see from the back, I have her eyes covered so that she can't see much. That helps them to feel the most secure. And her back and front paws are sticking out the back of my elbow so that they don't accidentally scratch us. Now that we have our rabbits properly carrying, we're going to go ahead and enter the room where we're going to be showing our rabbits. When you walk up, you want to stay about 3 feet away from the table, and you're going to do your 4-quarter turns. Once you know that the judge is looking at you and they're going to give you kind of a nod and acknowledge you, we're going to go ahead and turn 4 times in quarter turns starting to the right. So we're going to turn 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to wait about 3 seconds or until the judge acknowledges you. You're then going to step up to the table, set your rabbit down, face them towards your left side, and pose them properly for their body type. I have a Himalayan, which is a cylindrical, so I'm going to go ahead and pose her the proper way for her body. Now that we have our rabbits properly posed, we're going to go into our introduction. You're going to start with introducing yourself. You want to include your name, your age, what grade you are in school, and if you're competing through 4-H or FFA, you also want to include what club or chapter you're with. So my personal introduction would be, hello, my name is Maddi Borland, I'm 14 years old, I'm in Bitterwater 4-H, and I'm in 8th grade. Next, we're going to move on to the introduction of our rabbits. We want to include their name, their division, their body type, and their breed. So for my specific rabbit, I would say that she is a black Himalayan junior doe, and her name is Leia. We're going to go straight in to examining our rabbit's ears. We're going to begin by telling the judge what their tattoo number is. Her tattoo number is 418. We're going to be checking for mites, canker, carriage, color, thickness, torn or missing portions, as well as fur coverage. And you want to make sure that you examine both ears very thoroughly, and you kind of show the judge what you're looking for as you go through it. Once we're finished with the ears, we're going to go ahead and turn the rabbit towards us so that we can flip them over. As we're turning them, we want to make sure we lift them up high enough that they don't catch a fingernail on the mat or blanket below them. So we're going to pick them up nice and high, turn them towards us. We're then going to flip them over. We're going to use the same positioning with our right hand as we did when we picked our rabbits up, putting that pointer finger in between their ears and wrapping the rest of our hand around the shoulders. We're going to scoop them up, and when we lay them over, we're going to rest them against the table and against our right forearm. This is going to make them feel nice and secure so that they're not going to struggle. We're then going to begin by examining the rabbit's eyes. We want to make sure that we're not forcing their eyes open during this. We're just gently using our pointer finger to open them up a little bit so that we can properly examine them. And we're checking for proper color, blindness, wall eye, moon eye, weepy eye, or any signs of conjunctivitis. And again, we want to make sure we're examining both eyes. We're then going to examine our rabbit's nose. We're checking for any signs of snuffles or wetness, and we're also checking for foreign spots or colors. It's also very important that we check the inside of the front paws for wetness or matting, because if they have a cold, they're going to wipe it with their front paws. After we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to the teeth. We want to make sure that we're exposing all of the front teeth so that the judge can see them, and we're checking for malocclusion, buck teeth, wolf teeth, peg teeth, or broken teeth. We're then going to move on to our rabbit's front feet. They should have 4 toes and 1 dew claw, and you're actually going to go ahead and count the toes and show the judge. 1, 2, 3, 4 toes and a dew claw. 1, 2, 3, 4 toes and a dew claw. We're going to check for broken, extra, missing toes, mismatched, white, missing toenails, bone density, dew claw, and pads. And as we're examining the front feet, we want to make sure that we're exposing every one of the toenails to show the judge. Once we're finished with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to the belly. When we're examining the belly, we want to make sure that we're checking the neck and under the chin, in between their front legs, down the belly, as well as across the sides. And we're checking for pigeon breast, blemishes, mastitis, abscesses, tumors, or abnormalities. We're then going to move on to examining the hind legs, and they should have 4 toes. And again, we're going to count the toes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're checking for broken or missing toes, mismatched white, missing toenails, bone density, straightness, and hocks. And when we're checking for straightness, we want to make sure that we extend both back legs fully to show the judge. And again, we're going to make sure we're exposing all of the toenails. We're then going to move on to sexing our rabbit. This rabbit is a doe. We're checking for vent disease and Hutchburn, and in intermediate and senior bucks, we're also checking for split penis and descended testicles. We're then going to shift our rabbits to the side so that the judge can see as we examine the tail. We're checking for straightness and color, for wry, dead, bobbed, or broken tail. And once we're finished with that, we're going to go ahead and flip our rabbit right back over and then pose them again, whatever is correct for their body type. And lastly, we're going to be examining their fur. You're going to start by placing your hand over their head if you need to. Sometimes rabbits like to hop away sometimes in this part. So if you need to, you can just set your hand right in front of their nose. And you're going to start by rubbing your hand from the base of their tail to the nape of their neck. You're going to run it backwards, and this is going to show what type of fur your rabbit has. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're checking for sheen, texture, luster. And in satins and mini rexes, we're also checking for density. And you're also checking for what type of fur it is. So different rabbits have different fur types, so whether it's rollback, flyback, standing, rex, or wool. And if I were showing a breed of rabbit that has coloration throughout her abdomen, I would also be checking for ring color, cervix color, undercolor, and bolts. Next up is judging comments. And this is where you're basically going to be doing the judge's job and examining your rabbit. And you're examining conformation, color, and then the characteristics that are specific to your breed. So certain rabbits, different parts of their body and different characteristics that they have are worth more points. And so we're doing the job of examining those and seeing how well they present in our rabbits. When examining their rabbits, we want to use different words and terminology. You can use the words poor, fair, excellent, good, conditioned, balanced, those sorts of words. We just do not want to use the word nice. So as we're going through, we're going to start at our rabbit's head, and we're going to say overall this rabbit has a great head. She's got a good ear and good width throughout her muzzle. This is something that's not specific to every breed, but for my breed specifically, it's a characteristic that really stands out. She has a nice balanced shoulder. She has great length throughout her abdomen. She has a balanced hip. Her coloration is excellent. She has great deep jet black. She has great depth of color throughout her shanks and feet and leg and around her head. Her coat is currently open. This is something that I would like to see improve, but overall she is a great rabbit. And all of these different terms are going to stay the same for every rabbit, but the condition of each section will change throughout each rabbit. So you can work closely if you have a leader with you, or you can do a lot of research online through the American Rabbit Breeders Association and find out what stands out about your rabbit so that you can be sure to show the judge and you can kind of show that off about your rabbit. There are two things that I always like to have handy when practicing rabbit showmanship. The first one is the American Rabbit Breeders Association Showmanship Scorecard. And this is so helpful because it has each one of the steps you need to take, the actions that go along with those steps, the terminology that you're going to go over as you're examining your rabbit, as well as how many points you can get from each one of those sections. The second thing I always like to have handy with me when practicing showmanship is the updated version of the American Rabbit Breeders Association, or ARBA, Standard of Perfection. This has every rabbit breed that's recognized by ARBA in it and every one of its characteristics. So I have a Himalayan, so I'm going to go ahead and flip to the page where the Himalayans are, and it's going to show a picture of your rabbit. It's going to have all of the different colors and varieties that it comes in, all of the different point systems, so how much each part of your rabbit is worth, the different characteristics that stand out about your breed, as well as faults or defects and disqualifications about your rabbit that you should be careful about when looking for the proper showmanship animal. Just to be clear, you do not have to have a perfect rabbit in order to do showmanship. Sometimes having a rabbit with faults or even a disqualification can be beneficial if you can express to the judge that you know what about your rabbit is not up to breed standards. When I started out showing rabbits, I just had a house rabbit, but it was super sweet, and when I did take it to the show, we did get disqualified from the cage judging. But because I was able to express to the judge in showmanship that I knew what was less desirable about my rabbit, I placed just as well as the other kids. Now that we've gone over the steps to showmanship, another huge portion of your showmanship routine is questions. You can check out our other video where we go over the commonly asked questions in your showmanship routine and how to answer them. We'll see you next time!